South Africa's unemployment rate has continued to increase according to statistics. South Africa's recently released quarterly labour survey. It covers the second 3 months of 2019. The unemployment rate increased by 1.4 percentage points from 27.6% in the first quarter of 2019 to 29% in the second quarter of the year. According to StatsSA, this is a result of an increase of 455,000 in the number of people who are unemployed and an increase of 21,000 in unemployment. According to the survey, this figure marks the highest increase in the number of unemployed persons in the second quarter of the year 2013. Now, the number of unemployed South Africans has climbed to 9.4 percentage points this time last year, putting the number of people without jobs to 6.7 million. This alarming statistics have raised questions like how to become more employable in the current economy. HR Specialist Solomon Makgobatlou joins us now for more. Thank you so much for joining us, Solomon. What can people do to align themselves with the economy in order to get employed?
Thank you very much for having me. You are right. Actually, today we've seen high levels of unemployment. So what has happened now is that most jobs they have shifted from your traditional job market into the new fourth industrial revolutions, where companies are trying to actually automate some of their operational processes. So now for people to become to actually get employable, it's not only, we cannot only put that responsibility to the employees themselves or people that are looking for jobs, because we see a lot of companies today retrenching a lot of people, and after that retrenchment you see people sitting home without jobs because now the skills they have become redundant and they cannot be applied into new job market where so they don't have some of the skills to fit into this new job market.
So are institutions giving the correct content, institutions like universities and colleges giving the correct curriculum in terms of preparing people for the job market?
Well, as to whether institutions are giving the right content, I wouldn't necessarily say yes or no, but I'll definitely say that I believe that it will be very much important for institutions to encourage the students to actually get themselves involved in activities that can help them to apply the skills that they, the qualifications that they're studying. For example, if you're studying medicine, you are able to go into a hospital and do your practicals. But for other, subjects or studies, people aren't able to do that. So that can only be done through, in my experience, can only be done through, being active into your immediate community, such as your, where you stay, your community, such as, things like student organizations at university and colleges, where you can learn to, you can apply some of the skills. For example, you're studying media, you'd need to have communication skills. You can't be in media, I'm talking about, being in front of people, where you don't have communication skills. You might have the qualification, but not the experience. To get experience, you need to actually try and, put that qualifications or subject that you're doing into practice, and then you can learn. For example, myself, when I finished studying at Wits University, I didn't have any experience, but then I remember I was working in I started working in the mining environment, and you can understand the mining environment, how it is. So I happened to, I was taking part into leadership like SABC Student Fellowship and other political organizations at university. I got to learn communication skills, and I remember my first task was to go into one of the sites and speak to the workers. And you can understand, speaking to the mining employees, you need to be able to communicate, and you need to be able to just think about, before you can say something, think about it. So you're sort of like a leader, because now you're leading several people, and some of these people, they were adults. So I happened to be able to communicate with them, and my employer was shocked to say, how do you do it? I just employed you last month, and already you're talking to people and they listen to you. So I learned those skills when I was in, like I said, CCSF, COPISM, and other societies at university. So it's important for young people to actually get themselves involved.
So a lot of young people who've just graduated are ready to join the workforce now. What are the important things to consider when they're putting together their CVs to present to HR people such as yourself?
Oh, thank you very much for asking that question. Young people don't understand that CV, it's a process. It's not just typing your name and your qualifications. It's important for young people to consider that the skills that they have, the skills that they have, applied in their lifetime. It's not just about, like I always say, we don't get to learn skills only when we are in a workplace environment. You can get to learn skills in your community, like I said, where for example, you can always, join institutions where you can become a typist. As a typist or a secretary, you can learn to type and use Microsoft Word. Those are some of the skills that one can actually learn once you have graduated. And when you go to interviews, they will ask you, what skills do you have? You can always say, I have this skill and this skill and this skill, because employers don't necessarily care about the theoretical part of what you know.
Yeah.
They care about the practice, the practicals.
My worry is that some of these things require financial resources, and most of the time these are not available to most people.
Well, in my experience, I wouldn't necessarily say they require financial resources. I know people always say that I don't have money to go and join whatever societies and stuff. These things are free. I mean, South Africa, we are a country where people usually like to get together and share ideas and things like that. If you don't have finances or financial resources, you can always go out there and look for a mentor. I mean, mentors are very important. With a mentor, you can always, ask them how they got to where they are. What can you do as a young person to actually learn some of the skills that you need to learn to get into the kind of work environment that you want to find yourself in.
But practically,
yes,
when you are going through the process of recruitment,
yes,
and you have a CV from
correct,
one person who has qualifications and has experience,
yes,
another person only has qualifications.
Yeah.
How do you balance that out?
Well, it's very critical for employers to. I'm talking from experience because we also do recruitment in our business. It's very important for employers not just to look at the qualifications and the CV that is sitting on their table. It's important to actually, at times, ask people about. We ask people, when you get a CV and we realize that this CV is just qualifications and there's no experience, we take that initiative and we ask the person, what have you done in your life? Is there anything that you have done? For example, now we just actually have this new initiative that we launched last week, where young people every week on Thursdays, they submit their CVs for reviews.
Yeah.
We review those CVs and then we give them advice to say that, look, you have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for your community, or you've done this and this. That you can actually apply into a working environment. So it's very critical for young people to actually get involved. I always say, young people, you definitely need to get involved into your communities, and that's where you can learn skills. So
it's all good and well to say to people, get involved and increase your skill set and all of that, but we live in the reality in South Africa is that unemployment is at 29%. There are no jobs, no matter how suitable or qualified you are for the workplace.
Yeah.
So to a person watching us now who's been trying several times to get a job, what our conversation might seem a bit unrealistic to say, oh, increase your skills.
Yes.
They're like, I've got all the skills I need, but I'm not getting the job.
Well, frankly speaking, yes, jobs are not there. Today, we see a lot of companies retrenching, like I said, and people are trying to get into employment. But that's not the only avenue where one can make a living. I mean, you could look into, starting a small business. I mean, like I did.
Yeah.
When I realized that, my employment at times was in danger, I realized that, what I can do, I can go out there, find some tomatoes and sell those tomatoes. We can't all become employees. We need people that can create employment like ourselves. So if you can see that it's really, really tough, people that are watching, if you really, really see that things are very tough, you don't just need to look at employment alone also go out there, look what is missing
opportunities as well.
in your society.
Yeah.
Try to assess.
Right, tell us about your project.
SISO Labor Project. You mean the project that we just launched now?
Yes.
Okay, I had actually an interview on radio, and there was someone mentioned that young people don't know how to type CVs. So I realized that it's a fact, because on a daily basis, when we receive CVs from different people who are looking for employment,
yeah,
you constantly have to check the CV, you constantly have to contact these people and say, you said you work for X and X company.
Okay,
what did you do?
We have to wrap up. Where do people get a hold of you? Can you give us the contacts?
All right, we are on Twitter, SISOL Projects. We are also
SISOL.
on SISOL Project, SISOL Projects. We are also on LinkedIn, SISOL Labor Projects. Facebook, also SISOL Labor Projects. Our website is sisolprojects.co.za.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you for
Solomon
having me.
Makgobatlou is an HR specialist.
I appreciate it.